I would suggest that basically the answer to that is that it depends upon the type of testimony that you are working with, and what the intentions are of the project. So Virtual Holocaust Memoryscape is very much focused on the material and physical testimony of memorial sites. We were very aware of there were already fantastic projects that were dealing more with survivor testimony. So we focused on all those narratives of the Holocaust and all those understandings which are actually physically layered into the material site itself, and the importance of that being preserved. You know, survivor testimony needs to be preserved, but the material testimony of the sites also needs to be preserved. You know, that is not going to last forever either. So in terms of, you know, whether we focus on storytelling, a narrative, potentially I would suggest that is more focused on survivor testimony. If we're focusing more on this idea of a multisensory representation of a space, maybe that's more about the kind of physical and material testimony of the sites. But as I hope I made clear in my talk, I think that we're at a really exciting juncture now where the next challenge is how do we meaningfully bring all these different types of testimony together? You know, how can we bring stories and archival materials and the historical experience of memorial sites, the contemporary experience of sites? What's the way that we intelligently, thoughtfully, meaningfully bring all those different types of testimony together? Creating individual projects for specific sites with specific technologies. Obviously, those can have very significant educational impact. I think really the future of this research lies in this kind of interconnected thinking, the bringing together of different kinds of testimony. And that intention, you know, to complicate the narratives, as I referred to, this to me seems like a real opportunity to do that by that kind of interconnected thinking.
Thanks very much, Tom. And Kenneth has his hand raised.
Yeah, I'd just like to also add that the intent, as Tom was mentioning, the intent of what you're trying to get across is really important. So is the thing that you are doing interactively when you're in the space, and whether you're trying to connect the dots on, being able to critically discern documents. If that is the thing that you're trying to work on, then role play leaves less of a mark than perhaps something else. So I think it's very dependent on what aspect of that story or the histories that you're trying to tell, and so that sometimes role playing will be a valuable tool and sometimes not.